Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the second practical, that is nutrient deficiency in plants. Okay, so in this you will study about the different nutrients which are required by the plants, and if there is deficiency of any particular nutrient, then there are some symptoms in plant which are shown by the plants, right? So we will discuss these symptoms today. Okay, what are the objectives? Firstly, to identify and diagnose the common plant nutrient deficiency symptoms, and to understand that how to we can use a key for identifying that particular symptoms of the deficiencies. Now let us discuss that there are some general effects of the available nutrient concentration. Sometimes the range of the nutrients is different, right? So because of these differences in the ranges, there may be extreme deficiency range, there may be severe deficiency range, moderate deficiency range, luxury range, or toxic range. So this critical concentration range occurs between the deficiency and luxury consumption, right? And there are some conditions for the nutrient deficiency stress, like they depend upon the amount and concentration of the nutrients in the soil, that in the soil which we are using for the plantation or for planting different vegetables. So what is the amount of the nutrients in that soil, then form of the soil, which is the form of the soil, right? Because in some cases the nutrients, some of the nutrients are more easily available and some of the nutrients are not easily available. Then contents of the soil solution, because these nutrients are available to plants when they are dissolved in the solutions in water, right? So what is the content of the soil solution and what is the soil pH? And nutrient concentration in plants also vary with the plant age, plant part, plant species, and soil type. And what are the symptoms? Symptoms, you can say that any perceptible change in known structure, right? These may be yellowing of the leaves, that is known as chlorosis. It may be death of the plant, that is known as necrosis, death of the tissues of the plants, death of the leaves of the plants, then lesions on the leaves, malformations, malfunctions, and reduced growth and yield. So these are all are the symptoms which are showing that there is deficiency of some particular kind of nutrients, right? So if we talk about the essential animal elements, there are 16 elements which are required by plants, and these are obtained by plants from soil, water, or air, right? So in from all of these, 14 of these elements are supplied by the soil, right? And 6 of the elements are regarded as macronutrients, and remaining 7 nutrients are regarded as micronutrients. And macronutrients are required in somewhat more quantity, and micronutrients are required in lesser amounts by the plants. So which are those macronutrients? Oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon. These are supplied to plants through air or water, right? Then the macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. These are the major nutrients which are supplied by soil, and these are required by the plants in large quantities. Then there are the form which is used by the plants. Okay, so carbon is used by plants in the form of carbon dioxide, oxygen in the form of water, hydrogen again from water, nitrogen, there is nitrate and ammonium, right? So NO3 negative and NH4 positive. So this is the charge on the molecules, right? Then phosphorus, the available form that is easily readily absorbed by the plants is phosphate, right? Then potassium, K positive, calcium, Ca2 positive, magnesium, Mg2 positive, and sulfur, SO4, sulfates. Okay, sulfate ions, you can see. Then there are micronutrients which are required by plants in the smaller amounts, and these are supplied by fertilizers. And these elements are iron, manganese, boron, molybdenum, copper, zinc, and chlorine. So all of these micronutrients are supplied through soil. And this is the form of these micronutrients which is used by the plants, right? So iron is used by plants in the form of Fe2 positive, manganese Mn2 positive, boron H2, BO3 negative, molybdenum Mo, that is the symbol of molybdenum, and oxygen O42 negative, then copper, zinc, chlorine. So these all are the forms that are used by the plants. Then let us talk about the deficiency symptoms of nutrients. So these deficiency symptoms appear on the plant when there is deficiency of one or more than one nutrient, and when the supply of these nutrient is less to the plant, right? So in many cases, deficiency may occur because added nutrient is not in the form of the plant can use. Okay, so if we are applying nutrients to the plants, but they are not in the usable form in which plants can use, right? In that we have discussed the form in which plants can use the elements, right? So this nutrients should be in the available form to the plants. If they are not in the form of available form, then they may cause deficiency of that particular nutrient, right? And deficiency symptoms for specific elements are included on the key to nutrient disorders, right? Okay, every soil is not susceptible to the same nutrient deficiencies, because some of the soils having more nutrients in it, others are lack of those nutrients, right? So for example, coarse texture soils are low in organic matter, because that's why they are susceptible to sulfur deficiency. Okay, so coarse texture soils are low in sulfur, whereas sulfur is usually inadequate supply in clay soils or soils high in organic matter, right? So soils which are rich in organic matter, they are having adequate supply of sulfur, but the soils which are not having organic matter or which are low in organic matter, they are susceptible to sulfur deficiencies. So this again depends on the soils. Now we will discuss about the functions of the nutrients as well as their deficiency symptoms. So firstly, nitrogen. So what is the function of nitrogen in the plants? It produces nitrogen. Firstly, you can say it profuse foliation or vegetative growth is uh, increased if we apply nitrogen, right? So it produces stem and leaf growth, gives plant dark green color. Okay, so dark green color in the plants is provided by nitrogen, and it also helps in the synthesis of amino acids and proteins. And if there is deficiency of nitrogen, then the entire plant will be light in gray, light color, and the lower leaves will be yellow. Okay, so nitrogen deficiency symptoms uh, are shown firstly on the lower leaves, and there will be slow and dwarfed growth of the plant, right? Then phosphorus stimulates the root development and growth. Okay, so phosphorus, what is the major function of the phosphorus? Root development and growth. Okay, and it helps in cell division, and it encourages flower bud formation. It improves the winter hardiness. It helps the plants to a vigorous and rapid start, right? And if there is deficiency of phosphorus, there will be purplish coloration to the leaves and stems, and there will be stunted growth. So phosphorus, a deficiency of phosphorus will cause a purplish coloration to the leaves and stems, right? Then potassium. So potassium, the function of potassium is to provide resistance against the diseases, and it also improves the quality of the fruits or vegetables, right? So it increases the plant vigor and disease resistant. It aids in the transport of foods through the phloem, It has key role in opening and closing of stomata, and it thickens the cell walls, right? So disease, it provides disease resistance and transportation of food to the other parts of the plant, right? And if there is deficiency of potassium, then the edges of the leaves will become, firstly will become yellow, and then the tissue of those leaves will dead. Okay, so this is the the macronutrients which are required in the more quantity. Then again, secondary macronutrients, these are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. So what is the function of calcium? It maintains the cell wall, then promotes early root growth. And what is the symptoms of deficiency? uh, there will be short and much branched roots, so roots will be affected, and young leaves at growing points will die back. Okay, so if there is deficiency of calcium, the younger leaves will die back. Then magnesium. So magnesium is an essential, very essential for chlorophyll formation and for photosynthesis, right? So it is activator for many plant enzymes. It aids nutrient uptake. Okay, so magnesium is the main element that is required for chlorophyll, right? And if there is deficiency of magnesium, there will be loss of green leaf color starting with the bottom leaves, right? So there will be loss of the green color because there will be no proper formation of chlorophyll if there is deficiency of magnesium, so the color will be lost. And then sulfur, it stimulates the root growth, and it is needed for protein formation. It gives green color to the plant. So if there is deficiency of sulfur, the young leaves will have light green color, and its veins will be also be lighter. Then there are micronutrients. So here functions of these micronutrients are given. Like for boron, the function of boron is essential. It is essential for pollination and reproduction, for cell division, and for transport of sugars. And with its deficiency, the young leaves will become yellow and thick. Then copper, the function of copper is to regulate the several chemical processes, chlorophyll synthesis and respiration. And its deficiency will cause yellowing of leaves, and younger leaves will get affected first. Then chlorine, it is involved in the light reactions of photosynthesis. It aids root and shoot growth. And what its deficiency symptoms? So they have not been recognized particularly that what is the deficiency symptoms of chlorine. Then iron, it is important in chlorophyll formation. It is a component of enzymes that are involved in photosynthesis, respiration, and nitrogen fixation. So if there is deficiency of iron, then young leaves yellow first and veins will remain green. Okay, so when we talk about these elements, so we there is also one more thing that we have to know, that some of the elements cause they show their symptoms on the younger leaves. Some of the elements, nutrient elements, show their symptoms, deficiency symptoms on the older leaves, right? So it is given here that which part of the plant gets affected first. So with iron, the yellowing of the leaves occur in the young leaves. And if there is deficiency of manganese, the young leaves again will show symptoms first. That is again yellowing of the leaves of younger leaves, and veins will remain green. And in molybdenum deficiency, the older leaves showed the symptoms of yellowing first. And same in the case of zinc, the older leaves will show yellowing first, and there will be stunted growth. So the functions of manganese is importance. This is manganese is important in chlorophyll formation, and it take part in the enzyme in the formation of enzymes which are involved in respiration and nitrogen metabolism. Zinc is important in chlorophyll, oxygen, and starch formation. part of enzymes involved in respiration, and it is needed for oxygen and starch formation, right? So these are the functions and deficiency symptoms of micronutrients. Now I'll show you the particular pictures in which you can recognize that what is the particular symptom of particular nutrient. So firstly we will talk about nitrogen. So I have already told you that what is the function of nitrogen. It imparts green color to the plant, right? And vegetative growth of the plant is increased if we apply nitrogen, right? So there is a general chlorosis on the leaves, and this uh, chlorosis will progress from the light green to yellow. Firstly the leaves will become light green in color, and then if the deficiency is severe, then the leaves will become yellow, and entire plant becomes yellow under prolonged stress. So if there is a too much stress of nitrogen, if nitrogen is not supplied for longer time, then entire plant will become yellow, and growth is immediately restricted, and plants soon become spindly and drop older leaves, right? So older leaves will be dropped off from the plants, right? So in this picture you can see the first leaf is green in color, that the nutrient is properly supplied to the plant, and in other picture the leaves are showing light green and yellow color. That means there is deficiency of nitrogen. Next one is phosphorus. So phosphorus, with the deficiency of phosphorus, the leaves and the stems of the plant become change their color to reddish purple or purplish color. So this is a major symptom. Okay, so you can recognize the deficiency of phosphorus when you see there is purplish color on the plant leaves or stems, right? So these leaves of the plant appear dull, dark green, blue green, or red purple, especially on the underside and especially at the midrib and vein, right? So these parts of the leaves show the deficiency symptom. Petioles may also exhibit purpling. So the petioles of leaves will also exhibit purple color, and restriction in growth may be noticed. So the growth of the plant will be restricted, right? So this is the deficiency symptom of phosphorus. Then potassium. So potassium tips and margins of the plant leaves firstly become yellow, and then the dead tissues you can be noticed. Okay, so in this picture you can see there is yellowing of the margins of leaf, right? So here you can see it is the yellowing of the margins. These are the margins of the leaf. So there is yellowing of the margins of the leaf, and in these leaves you can see the necrotic tissues, the dead, you can say the leaf is dead on the margin areas, right? So necrosis occurs on the margins and tip of the leaves, right? So this is the major deficiency symptom of potassium, right? So there is yellow starting at the tip, advancing along the margins. Firstly it starts from the tip, and then it advances towards the margins of the leaves. Leaf margins tanned, scratched, or having necrotic spots. Right, firstly they are tanned, they are scratched, and then they are having necrotic spots. Margins become brown and cup downward. Okay, so these margins, they become brown in color and they cup downward, right? Growth is restricted and the dieback may occur. Mild symptoms appear first on recently matured leaves, right? So you can say that the symptoms of potassium firstly appear on the older leaves, right? Those have recently matured. Next is deficiency of magnesium. So magnesium is the major element that is required for chlorophyll. So if there is a deficiency of magnesium, so interveinal chlorosis will occur, right? So marginal chlorosis or chlorotic blotches which later may merge. Okay, so these are the symptoms of magnesium deficiency, that is chlorosis, right? So leaves show yellow chlorotic intervenal tissues. So veins are green in color and intervenal tissues are yellow in color, right? reddish purple progressing to necrosis on the other, and there will be necrosis if the deficiency uh, is more. Okay, younger leaves affected with the continued stress. So these again, the deficiency of magnesium is shown firstly on the older leaves, but if it is not corrected, then the younger leaves will also get affected. Chlorotic areas may become necrotic, brittle, and curl upward. Okay, so chlorotic areas where the deficiency symptoms are shown, they will become necrotic, they will become brittle, and will curl upward. And symptoms of magnesium will occur in late in the growing season. So these are the symptoms of magnesium. Then calcium. So calcium, if there is deficiency of calcium, then the points, growing points of the fruits, right, they will be damaged and they will be die back. Okay, so in these pictures you can see the growing points of the fruits are damaged, right? And margins of leaves developing from the growing point are first to turn brown. So margins of leaves will also turn brown, and fruits will be also damaged and they will dead. Then deficiency of sulfur. This is the deficiency of sulfur is somewhat similar with nitrogen. There is yellowing of the entire plant. Okay, and uniform yellowing is there if there is deficiency of sulfur, right? Leaves uniformly light green followed by yellowing and poor spindly growth. So firstly the leaves will become light green in color, and then if the deficiency is not corrected, then there will be yellowing of the total full plant, and uniform chlorosis doesn't occur. So in these pictures, the one is first one is having deficiency of sulfur, and the other picture where the sulfur is supplied, right? So you can see the difference. These first one uh, showing the symptoms of deficiency, right? So yellowing of plants is shown by the plant. Then deficiency of copper. So if there is deficiency of copper, the growth will be stunted and there will be terminal dieback, necrosis of the meristem, and delayed flowering. Flowering will be delayed. Okay, there will be meristem necrosis and terminal dieback of the leaves. New leaves uniformly pale, leaves will wilt, become chlorotic, and then necrotic, right? So the growth will be stunted. Then deficiency symptoms of Ferrous. Ferrous, again, intervenal chlorosis occurs. So veins are green in color and the whole leaf is yellow. So distinct yellow or white area appear between veins, and veins eventually become chlorotic. So veins will become chlorotic, but in the later stages. Initially, there will be intervenal chlorosis, and symptoms are rare on mature leaves. So the symptoms of ferrous are mostly found on the new leaves, younger leaves, right? And these are rarely found on the mature leaves. Then manganese, there is again intervenal chlorosis. This is very similar to iron, that is ferrous, magnesium, and nitrogen. And severe deficiencies have brown specks and bronzing. So if there is severe deficiency of manganese, then brown specks will be there and bronzing of the leaves will occur, right? So some mottling occur in the intervenal areas. In the intervenal areas, mottling will occur, right? So this is the mottling. Chlorotic areas eventually become brown, transparent, or necrotic, right? So these, if the manganese deficiencies advances, it means it is not corrected, then the areas will become brown, transparent, and necrotic. And symptoms appear later on the older leaves. Firstly, the symptoms appear on the younger leaves, and in the later stages, the symptoms of manganese deficiency will be appear on the older leaves also. Then zinc. So leaves will be small in size. Okay, if there is deficiency of zinc, the leaves will be small, the growth will be stunted, and leaves will be necrotic. and internodes will also be shortened, right? So deficiency of boron, there will be necrotic areas, or you can say dead areas on the growing points, right? So boron deficiency firstly appear on the growing points of the plant, young leaves, you can say, or growing points, right? So there will be necrotic or distortion, and this will be followed by death of the plants, death of the growing points. Internodes of the plant leaves will also be short, especially at the shoot terminals, and stems may be rough, cracked, or split along the vascular bundle. So in this figure you can see the stem, that it is rough, cracked, and there is a split along the vascular bundles. So this is all regarding the deficiency symptoms uh, in the plants, right? Thank you, students.